Well, good morning, everybody. This is Pastor Jay, and I am coming to you from the Vicarage, and we are here today to do our Thursday Digging Deeper devotional. And we have been discussing all this week the stronghold of a superstitious religion. From our series in the book of Acts, we're in Acts chapter 17, verses 10 through 34, and we're talking specifically about the Athenian church. And not the Athenian church, actually, but the city of Athens as a whole. And Paul, on his first visit to Athens, was invited to speak at the Areopagus. And there he told the Athenian men that he saw that in every way they were very religious. And the word he used there was the word disidiamon, which means religious in a bad sense, superstitious. And the idea that you let false ideas lead you to your worship. And so as Voltaire said, and I do love this quote, even though I don't necessarily agree with all that he stood for, superstition is to religion what astrology is to astronomy, the mad daughter of a wise mother. And so superstition is not really good faith. It's faith put into ideas that are really tangential or don't touch on true faith at all. And so we're talking about some things in our own church or our own culture of church that either border on this idea of superstition or border on the edge of idolatry and into possible idolatry. And we talked about some of those things on Tuesday, the idolatry of self, thinking that what we want is what God wants, materialism and wealth, placing an undue weight on wealth as an indicator of spirituality, fame and influence, making ourselves think that our reputation or how we are viewed is an indicator of our true stature with God. We talked about how sometimes even our denomination can become a religious idol or a superstition. We believe that only people in our denomination or our fellowship are truly Christians. Sometimes our technology can become an obsession, an idol, or a superstition, believing that the best churches or truly spiritual churches are those on the cutting edge of technology. And moralism or legalism, thinking that we stand in favor with God because we adhere to certain extra biblical principles that make us better than other denominations or other people of faith. And finally, what we really began to talk to this week in light of all that's going on in our country are political and national ideologies, believing that because of who we are, and this happens all over the world, believing that because of our nation or our nationality or the culture we live in or our political affiliation, that we are the best Christians and our stature with God is assured. So because we're Americans, we have the corner on the faith market. The American church is the best church, or the Caucasian church is the best church. Or, for instance, ideas like you cannot be a Christian and a Democrat, or you cannot be a Christian and a Republican. You cannot be a Christian and a liberal. You cannot be a Christian and a conservative. And in the midst of all this, we need to recognize that when we enter into extremes of those thought patterns, we are actually bordering into superstition, because there are Christian Republicans and there are Christian Democrats and there are Christian liberals, and the American church is not the best model of church, of doing church throughout the world. And so in our current political climate, the church needs to recognize that where there's extreme in any matter, we need to stand up for our kingdom first. We are Christians first. Our king is Jesus. We are part of another kingdom. Jesus said to Pontius Pilate on the day of his trial, my kingdom is not of this world. And we need to recognize that if Jesus' kingdom is not of this world, then our kingdom is not of this world. It's from another place. And our goal is not to take over the kingdoms of this world. That's Jesus' job when he comes back. We are to encourage people to become part of Jesus' kingdom. And that is the center of our being. We aren't trying to take over the government. We aren't trying to make this American government do what we think is the Christian thing. We are to go about spreading the message of the gospel of Jesus Christ. That is our primary reason for being. So I'm going to stop there. We'll go into some scriptures regarding this and some examples regarding this in the days ahead. So how do we exactly thread the needle in our current political climate, in our current national climate? How as the church are we to live breaking the stronghold of superstitious religion? And how are we to be the church in the world we find ourselves in today? Until we meet again, God bless you and be at peace.